Hello everyone, we have our news for the week, so let's go through everything. Maintenance is a day late this week, so important. So maintenance is going to be Thursday night instead of Wednesday, so everything will be starting on Friday instead of Thursday. Big change there. The things ending this week is just the Omega Spawn, so that's the raid event and the challenge event. So the challenge does have a mystery crystal if you haven't gone through and gotten that yet. This week, week 2 of Final Fantasy XII, we are getting not all Final Fantasy XII units. So we're getting 2 Neovision base, 2 NVAs. So only 2 of them are Final Fantasy XII, the other 2 are not. We're getting logins for 1 of the Neovision base and the 2 NVAs, for as far as the usual login shards go. So it's going to be Vaan for our main focus for the week. So we get the exchange shop for him. Fountain of Lapis bundle is coming back. Generally a good deal on that. Vision cards, so just 1 new vision card, and this is from Vaan. So 90 attack on it. 25 limit damage for everybody. Breaker units get another 25% limit damage and 300 attack. So for a breaker unit, you get the 90 attack on the card, 50% limit damage, and 300 flat attack. It's an okay card. We are getting our next trial as well against Belphegor. So this should be fun. See how hard this is. As far as rewards, we get our Demon Killer Materia, Demon Killer Plus Recipe. And then we also get Plant Eater Sense, which is nice because we get the attack and magic plus the 75 killer there. So we'll have some fun with this. We'll see just how hard it is when that comes out. And we are getting 2 Chronicle battles this time. So first up, Mandragoras. So bonuses for the Final Fantasy XII units. As far as items we get from this one, accessory gets boosted, 45 attack, 5 spirit, 25% physical evasion. So I mean, not bad. It's like Aloha Laswell's Trust. Just no dual wield, and you get a low spirit on it. And then we get to boost the Chaos Blade, Final Fantasy XII. So this is focused at Gabrynth. 170 attack, 220 defense, one-handed sword. For him, pretty good because he's a dual-wield tank. For Gabrynth only, 1000 defense and 100% defense, and then it boosts some of his skills. I don't know what skills get boosted, but it does sound interesting, and then it still has the boost defense when using a dagger. So, pretty decent sword upgrade for Gabrynth. And then the other one is the Omega Mark 12. So for this, there's a mystery crystal to be had. So this should be a little bit of a challenge. They want a party of 4 or less and 5 turn total for all missions. So we'll see just how well we can get all that done. And the event for them is going to be a raid event. So we have a raid event ending and a new one starting right away. So for this general raid event stuff, the items that we can get this time, so we get a helmet, 1000 attack, 30 attack defense, 40 spirit. The flat health on it is kind of nice. The stats are just okay overall. Vayne's Garb, so this is just for Vayne. 40 attack, 30 defense spirit, 35 magic. And then he gets 500 attack and 50% double hand. Then we get the Stone Blade, sword, 170 attack, 120 defense, 5% evasion. And let's see, it looks like we get double hand attack and defense, 50% on it. We get some Stone Killer, which is actually handy, 50% there. And then we get more Human Killer with 30% attack and magic on it. Always nice to see the attack and magic with the killer. And we do get an extra little challenge from the raid. The Judge Master's straight back. So they know EX coins and everything here. I don't think this would be too hard unless there's better rewards than what they list there. Alright, so banners. Last time we got the Laswell Final Fantasy IV, this time it's Rain Final Fantasy 1. So it's a cheaper unit, he's not really meta. Just like Laswell, like 19,000 you get him guaranteed on step 5, and a bunch of shards for him. He's just an attacker unit with a Brave Shift. He gets 3 turns in shift form. He gets the Rain card essentially, so no new card on him. Super, 100% limit damage and 200% LB fill rate for attacker units only. So 100% LB damage on a materia is nice. Limited to attacker units can be a little limiting. His regular trust is 75% attack, defense, magic spirit, double hand essentially. Only when using a large sword though. We can take a look at his skills on the JP side because there's no global boost listed. And then for the main week banner, so Vaan is the main focus there, and then we have both the NVAs with raid ups for Vayne and Folka. And they're doing the treasure summon essentially, where we get the ticket to pick an item at the end if you go through the step up, and then you'll have to go through his little extra step up another 2 times to get the 10 tickets total to pity. So standard banner that we've seen many times at this point. So he is a super limit burst debuffer. Super is two-handed fist with 230 attack, 35% evasion, and boosts chains by 200%. So that is the low-end chain boost, not the cap. And then his regular trust is clothing that can only be equipped by breaking units. They get 1500 health, 60 attack. Vaan and the versions of Vaan only will get the 500 flat attack and 50% limit. Everybody else can get 100% double hand attack and 100% attack. And then for Vayne, it doesn't look like there's any global boosts, but becomes a super limit burst unit. The only new thing for him, as we've already had his trust, is the super trust, which is only usable for him, and it's just a flat 1000 attack and magic, so there's no point in trying to get a bunch of that super, as only he can use it. And then Folka, we've already had a super for her, so her stuff stays the same. Again, no global boost. We can take a look at all their skills as on the JP side. So first up, we can take a look at Rain. So he's definitely the weakest unit of the week. EX2, he gets 100 Beast Killer, which most versions of Rain have like 150, which is a little disappointing on that. Absolute Mirror, standard move with the +2 Awaken, 60x modifier there, nothing too special. 85 Break on demand is fine. 80x chain mods for earth and fire for bolting. He can provoke. He can give a 3000 barrier to all allies. So nothing too spectacular in the base kit in the base form. He does get 200 beast killer, 150 machine plant and demon killer. So decent on the killers. He's a double hand unit as he gets a bunch of the double hand passives. See, he does get a star attack of 1000%. Not sure exactly what's proccing that, as I don't read Japanese all that well. Looks like autocast at the start of the turn. Yeah, so autocast at the start of the turn, he gets 1000% attack for a normal attack. So unfortunately, because that's an autocast at the start of the turn, he doesn't get to be played around with like Riser. And then if he has his trust or super, he gets 300% buffs at the start. 60 LB crystals, and 45% general mitigation. So that's not bad for having his trust procced. Base limit burst, 21 hits, which isn't going to chain well with many things unless you weave it in between things. 130 fire down the start is nice. 150 fire to all enemies. And then gives himself a 50 limit boost for 3 turns. Then his shift. A lot of the stuff is the same. He's got a fire and earth hybrid at 550, so that should be fixed damage. And that also looks to add 50x modifier to his limit. So if you use his base limit, then this, you get 100x modifier for his LB. Let's look at the shift LB. So 7 and 1, so 8 hits total. Gives himself Beast Killer, 20x Beast hit, and then a 200x finisher. So you can add that up to a 300 finisher using his base limit and the boost. So it's okay. He's usable, but he's definitely not a meta unit, which is why he's kind of cheap on the banner. Just like pretty much how we ended up with Laswell. Folka for NVA. So we'll just look at what she gets new. So Brave Shift, 3 turns, stuck in there, 3 turns, has to wait 2 turns to shift back. So in the base, as far as Neovision skills, not much except for passives. Her auto attack gets upgraded. She gets autofill limit, 500 magic, and looks like she'll restore 200 mana at the start of every turn, which is really handy actually. Make her a mana battery. She does get flood, and she can imbue water and boost water damage 25%. So decently handy on a water team, but her base form still doesn't get that many upgrades going to Neovision overall. Limit burst, pretty much the same from her 7-star. So she only gets a couple of new tricks in the base. And then her shift. So she gets a cooldown to unlock some moves and quadcast and boost her magic 300. She gets a bolting chain move. Magic damage 200x. So overall, not that great because it's non-elemental magic, even if it is a 200x modifier. There's no asterisk saying that we can imbue it, so I would say that's not that great of a move, being pure magic. Let's see, stuff that she gets unlocked, looks like we can unlock old school Chaos Wave. We haven't had many Chaos Wave moves lately, actually. Everything's Chaos Wave awakened. 72x, 80% all break, and inflict stop to all enemies. She gets a buff, 300% to all allies, 80% elements to everybody, and 70% general mitigation. That's actually pretty handy. The only downside is you have to unlock it. So you can't do this turn 1, you have to wait till turn 2 at minimum. Quad black, and that should be her auto attack at 33x modifier. So she pretty much gets all the water spells to be expected as she's water focused, and she can still imbue in the shift form. And then her limit burst, 3 hits, 84 defense spirit break, 130 watered down, and 250x water magic hit. That's not terrible for just an NVA. She's a double hand magic user. Let's see, killers 200 on Reaper and Human, 150 Beast and Aquatic. Absorbs water damage. Looks like just the 150 on the LB, and she gets 100 chain cap. No extra boost to her water spells, though. So she'll be more of a supporter than an actual damage dealer overall. unless you're using her for the limit burst, but then it's only a 250 where most limits that we have now are 300 plus. So she's usable if you like her. Definitely not like a power up or anything. Then we can look at Vayne, who's 4-star going to Neovision. So his Magnus, when used, 30% all element boost to himself, 200% limit damage, and fill his limit. He does get this nice mitigate damage from fairies, both physical and magic, 99% to the entire party, which is very handy. 10 turn cooldown and only lasts for 1 turn, so obviously you're just using that for a big hit from fairies only. He gets 300x modifier bolting, lower light and dark by 120. So not terrible on that, especially seeing he's a 4-star base. He gets Entrust, which is always handy at times. Let's see, 500 attack at EX3, EX2 just autofill limit. 200% machine, reaper, fairy, and human killer, so a decent amount of killers there. Some double hand magic. Let's see, 450 boost. Actually has a decent amount of double hand magic and attack just in his kit. Looks like we'll only need 100 double hand attack and magic to cap him out. See, limit burst, Neovision. So he hates fairies. So he gets the 120x fairy mod and then just 80 for everybody. 86% attack and magic break, gives him skills for 2 turns. And then the super version, 200x against fairies, and 160 to everybody else, and 87 on the attack and magic break. So for a 4-star base against fairies, he's really strong, actually. Outside of that, being a 4-star base, it's still decent modifiers. So he'll probably be fun to play around with a little bit. He's definitely not going to be top damage from what I'm seeing compared to what we already have. Unless you're going to face just the fairy race. And then Vaan for the new unit. So breaker type, cooldown, 160 fire down on a 10 turn cooldown, but 160 fire in peril is really strong. I think so far Emperor with the 160 wind is the only really big imperil that we've seen. Let's see, 80% all break to all enemies, only 2 turns though. 83 to a single enemy for 5 turns. He gets his double stack Mirage. 87 defense and attack for 3 turns to single. See, cooldown boosts his fire damage and give himself LB modifier. Magnus with the 88% defense spirit break, which is pretty standard for most of the breakers we get lately. Bolting moves, 90x modifiers, fairly standard for Neovision base at this point. Does get a provoke. See, 100 human killer and then a 200. So 300 maxed out on human killer between the two there. 200 stone killer. 200 beast, avian, dragon, and machine killer. So he's got a decent amount of killers. Double hand attacker, it looks like. Looks like he has a preemptive 80%, preemptive 70% break with 80 elements down, which is kind of standard for the Neovision based breakers. His auto attack changes into an 85 break. He gets res, heal, and cure, or dispel. And then for limit burst, his base limit burst, 87 spirit break, 88 defense break, 145 human killer to the party, 145 fire down, and a 150 fire hit. 27 hits, should be a bolting chain. And then the super version, attack and magic, 85 break, 87 spirit break, 89 on the defense break, which is very nice. 160 human killer to the party, 160 fire down, and a 250 fire hit, still 27 hits. So he's a pretty useful breaker overall. You can get human killer from him. 89 defense break is pretty decent. We do have just a couple of 90 breakers. But the really big fire in peril is going to make quite a difference on him. So overall, pretty standard breaker type kit for him, but decently strong as well. So I'll be doing pretty much just free pulls. I won't be pulling on banners myself, but anybody that decides to pull for him, good luck to you. That's all the news that we have, so we're going to end this video here. Hope everybody enjoyed.